In the vast expanse of deep space, humanity had always wondered if we were alone. The answer came on a quiet Tuesday morning in 2157, but not in the way anyone had expected. We weren't contacted by advanced beings offering technological marvels or mysterious warnings about our future. Instead, we received a distress signal, a desperate plea for help from a civilization that, despite their incredible journey across the stars, found themselves stranded in our solar system. I remember standing in mission control when the signal first came through. The usual buzz of computers and quiet chatter fell silent as the crystalline tones echoed through our speakers. The message was simple. To any sentient species within range, we are the Meridian Fleet, 15 ships carrying 20,000 souls. Our primary drive systems have failed. We are trapped in your solar system's gravitational field. Our remaining power reserves will fail in 30 Earth days. Please, we need help. That irony wasn't lost on anyone. Here was an alien civilization, presumably far more advanced than us, turning to humanity, a species that had barely taken its first steps into space, for salvation. But perhaps that's exactly why they reached out to us. Humans had always been innovators, problem solvers, and most importantly, survivors. Within hours, space agencies worldwide united in an unprecedented collaboration. Our orbital stations became command centers, our lunar bases transformed into emergency response platforms, and every spacecraft capable of deep space travel was prepared for launch. The world watched as thousands of engineers, scientists, and astronauts worked tirelessly to devise a rescue plan. The Meridian Fleet's massive ships, now visible through our most powerful telescopes, hum like wounded birds between Mars and Jupiter. Their sleek, silvery hulls reflected our sun's light, creating a spectacular sight that reminded us just how far they traveled and how far they still needed to go. As Earth's first contact specialist, I was chosen to lead the communication team. The Meridians shared their technical data, and what we discovered was fascinating. Their technology wasn't necessarily more advanced than ours. It was just different. They had mastered incredible feats of bioengineering and quantum communications, but their understanding of conventional propulsion systems was surprisingly limited. They had relied heavily on their now-failed primary drive, with minimal backup systems. But where they had focused on biological and quantum advances, humanity had spent centuries perfecting chemical rockets, nuclear propulsion, and mechanical engineering. Our solutions might have seemed primitive to them, but they were proven, reliable, and exactly what was needed. As we prepare to launch the largest rescue mission in human history, I can't help but feel a sense of pride, not just in our ability to help, but in how humanity has responded. There's been no panic, no chaos, just a determined focus to save these travelers who found themselves stranded in our cosmic backyard. The clock is ticking. We have 25 days left before their power reserves fail. Our rescue ships are being loaded with supplies, equipment, and emergency power systems. Tomorrow, we launch the first wave of the mission, and I'll be on the lead ship. The whole world is watching, holding its breath, hoping we can pull off this impossible task. As I finish recording this log entry, I look up at the night sky. Somewhere out there, 20,000 beings are counting on us. Their fate rests in human hands. We may be younger, less traveled, and in some ways less advanced, but we're about to show the galaxy what humanity does best, facing impossible odds and finding a way to succeed. The real question is, are we ready for what comes after we save them? The pre-launch briefing was unlike anything in human history. Representatives from every major space agency crowded into Houston's command center, their faces illuminated by the soft blue glow of holographic displays showing the Meridian Fleet's position. Our rescue mission would involve 12 Earth vessels, each carrying specialized equipment and teams trained for deep space rescue operations. I stood at the podium, presenting the final communication protocols we'd established with the Meridians. Their language was complex, but we'd managed to develop a reliable translation system using a combination of mathematical principles and visual references. What fascinated me most was their reaction to our proposed rescue plan, a mixture of surprise and admiration at its simplicity and effectiveness. The Meridians had revealed more about their situation during our communications. Their fleet had been part of a grand exploration mission, searching for habitable worlds across the galaxy. They'd developed incredible technologies for sustaining life during long-term space travel, including biodomes that could recreate entire ecosystems. But their reliance on a single advanced propulsion system had become their downfall when it failed catastrophically after encountering an unexpected quantum anomaly. As we suited up for launch, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to their story. The Meridians were forthcoming about their technical specifications and immediate needs, but they remained mysteriously quiet about their origins and the true purpose of their journey. When asked directly, their responses were polite but vague, often redirecting the conversation to more pressing matters. The launch sequence began at dawn. 12 ships, representing humanity's finest engineering achievements, lifted off in perfect synchronization. The world watched through countless screens as we broke through Earth's atmosphere, our vessels forming an arrow-headed formation against the stark backdrop of space. The initial phase of our journey would take 72 hours, pushing our engines to their limits to reach the stranded fleet. Inside our ship, the mood was focused but tense. Our crew of 30 included engineers, medical personnel, and specialists in various fields. We trained for every conceivable scenario, but the reality of attempting to rescue an alien civilization weighed heavily on everyone's minds. The technical challenges alone were staggering. We needed to find a way to safely transfer power to their massive ships, while developing a method to either repair their drives or tow them to safety. On our second day of travel, we received an unexpected transmission from the Meridian fleet. Their power reserves were depleting faster than initially calculated. We now had only 18 days instead of 25. Worse still, they detected unusual energy signatures approaching from the outer solar system, something they seemed deeply concerned about but wouldn't fully explain. Our ship's sensors confirmed the energy readings, but we couldn't identify their source. Whatever was out there was moving against the solar wind, defying the normal patterns of space debris or natural phenomena. The Meridians' response to this news was telling. Their usually calm communications became urgent, almost desperate. As we approached the halfway point of our journey, I spent hours studying the data we gathered about our mysterious new allies. Something about their technology felt familiar, yet fundamentally different from anything we'd encountered in our theoretical studies of potential alien civilizations. Their ship's design appeared to be optimized for something beyond mere space travel. But what? The questions multiplied as we drew closer to their position. Why had they chosen this particular path through our solar system? How had their supposedly advanced drive system failed so completely? And what were these energy signatures that caused such obvious distress among their leadership? The first visual contact with the Meridian fleet left us breathless. Their ships were colossal structures of gleaming metal and crystalline surfaces, each one nearly the size of a small city. But as we drew closer, our instruments revealed something troubling. Microscopic fractures running through their hulls, as if they'd been subjected to intense stress far beyond what they'd admitted to. Things took an unexpected turn when we began docking procedures with their command ship. Our sensors detected faint but regular pulses of energy emanating from within their fleet, pulses that matched the mysterious signatures we'd observed approaching from the outer solar system. The Meridian leadership became evasive when questioned about these readings, their responses laden with what our linguistic experts identified as signs of extreme anxiety. During our first physical encounter, we met their ambassador in an improvised airlock connection between our vessels. They were tall, elegant beings with iridescent skin that seemed to shift colors with their emotions. But what caught my attention were the subtle signs of wear on their environment suits, signs that suggested they'd been wearing them far longer than necessary for a simple ship malfunction. As our engineering teams began work on their power systems, we discovered that their technology wasn't just different from ours. It was fundamentally paradoxical. Their drive systems showed evidence of being both incredibly advanced and surprisingly primitive, as if they'd been cobbled together from two entirely different civilizations. When we tried to access their main computer cores to better understand the problem, we encountered security protocols that seemed designed not to keep others out, but to keep something in. The growing tension reached a breaking point when one of our technicians discovered a hidden compartment filled with what appeared to be star charts. But these weren't navigation maps. They were strategic maps marking the positions of something the Meridians called the Pursuers. The revelation sent shockwaves through both human and Meridian crews. With just 7 days left before their power reserves failed completely, the energy signatures from the outer solar system grew stronger. The Meridian leadership finally called an emergency meeting with all human command staff. Their ambassador's skin had turned a deep, troubled blue as they prepared to reveal the truth about their situation. Just as they began speaking, our long-range sensors triggered an alarm. The mysterious energy signatures had suddenly accelerated, now moving at impossible speeds toward our position. The Meridian crew's reaction was immediate and terrifying, pure, unbridled fear. Their ambassador's voice shook as they finally began to explain what they'd been running from, why they'd really come to our solar system. But before they could finish, a blinding flash of light erupted from beyond Jupiter's orbit. Our sensors screamed with readings that defied physics, and a massive shockwave of unknown energy began racing toward our position. In that moment, we realized that we hadn't just stumbled into a rescue mission. We'd been drawn into an ancient conflict that was about to reach its climax in our solar system. As alarms blared across both human and Meridian ships, we had mere minutes to make a decision that would affect not just the stranded fleet, but potentially the fate of humanity itself. The truth about the Meridians and their pursuers was about to be revealed, and nothing in our first contact protocols had prepared us for what was coming. The real question wasn't whether we could save them. It was whether they had already doomed us all by leading their enemies to Earth's doorstep. In the chaos that followed, the Meridian ambassador's revelation hit us like a physical blow. They weren't refugees or simple explorers. They were guardians, protectors of an ancient technology that could reshape reality itself. Their ships weren't just vessels. They were prisons containing fragments of a device their ancestors had dismantled millennia ago, believing its power too dangerous to exist in one place. The Pursuers, we learned, were once part of their own civilization, a splinter faction determined to reassemble this reality-altering technology. The Meridians had spent generations keeping these fragments separated, hidden across the galaxy. But now, they'd been found, cornered, and their failing power systems weren't an accident. They'd been sabotaged from within. As the shockwave approached, our sensors detected something that defied explanation. The space around us began to ripple, like water disturbed by falling rain. The pursuer ships emerged from these distortions, dark, angular vessels that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. They moved in ways that violated everything we knew about physics, appearing to be in multiple places simultaneously. But then came the second shock, one that changed everything. Our own lunar base sent an urgent transmission. They detected energy signatures identical to those of the Meridian ships, buried deep beneath the moon's surface. Impossible as it seemed, there was evidence that Earth had been visited by the Meridians before, possibly thousands of years ago. We hadn't been chosen randomly for this rescue mission. We had always been part of their plan. The Meridian ambassador's skin shifted to a color we'd never seen before as they confirmed our discovery. Their ancestors had hidden one final fragment of their reality-altering device on our moon, believing it would be safe among a young species still centuries away from space travel. They'd returned now not just because they were being pursued, but because they needed humanity's help to protect something that had been in our cosmic backyard all along. The pursuing ships launched their first attack, not against the Meridian fleet, but against our rescue vessels. The strategy became clear. They thought we knew where the lunar fragment was hidden. Our ships, built for rescue operations, were now engaged in evasive maneuvers against weapons we barely understood. The space around us lit up with energy discharges that bent light and warped gravity itself. In the midst of this chaos, our engineers made a startling discovery. The reason human technology could interface with Meridian systems wasn't coincidence. Their ships had been gradually adapting, evolving to become compatible with Earth technology. They'd been preparing for this moment, knowing they would eventually need to return to our solar system. As the battle unfolded around us, we received another transmission from Earth. Our ground-based telescopes had detected more spatial distortions forming near Mars. This wasn't just a pursuit force. This was an invasion fleet. The pursuers hadn't just followed the meridians. They'd brought enough firepower to ensure nothing would stand in their way. With our rescue mission transformed into an interstellar war zone, we faced an impossible choice. The Meridians believed that humanity's unique approach to technology, our primitive but reliable solutions, might be the key to protecting both their fragments and the one hidden on our moon. But helping them meant potentially marking Earth as a target for an enemy capable of bending reality itself. The next few minutes would determine not just the fate of the Meridian fleet, but potentially the future of human civilization. As I looked out at the chaos unfolding around us, I couldn't help but wonder, had we been preparing for this moment throughout our entire history without even knowing it? In the midst of the battle, humanity proved why we had been chosen as guardians all along. While the pursuers unleashed weapons that distorted space-time, our primitive radio communications remained unaffected. They couldn't intercept or block what they saw as outdated technology. Within minutes, we established a secure coordination network between Earth's forces, the Meridian fleet, and our lunar base using simple amplitude modulation signals, technology that had remained virtually unchanged since the 1900s. The Meridian ambassador revealed their final secret. The fragments in their ships weren't just pieces of a device. They were parts of a quantum defense system designed to protect developing civilizations from advanced threats. Earth hadn't been chosen as a hiding place. We had been chosen as inheritors. Our technological path, focusing on reliability over quantum advancement, had unknowingly prepared us for this role. As the pursuer fleet pressed their attack, we executed a plan that could only have come from human ingenuity. Our rescue ships, originally designed to provide power to the Meridian vessels, reversed their energy flow. We didn't try to power their advanced systems. Instead, we used their ships as massive amplifiers for our own technology. Decades of satellite communications and radar research culminated in a moment no one could have predicted. The lunar base, coordinating with both fleets, activated the dormant fragment beneath the moon's surface. But rather than trying to harness its reality-altering properties, we used it as part of an enormous antenna array. The combined power of human and Meridian technology sent out a precisely calibrated electromagnetic pulse, not to attack the pursuers, but to stabilize local spacetime against their weapons. The effect was immediate and spectacular. The pursuers' reality-distorting technology backfired as normal spacetime reasserted itself. Their ships, dependent on spatial distortions, found themselves trapped in normal physics. Without their advanced propulsion, they were just metal and energy, subject to the same laws of physics they had tried to circumvent. Yet victory came with a price. The power required for our defensive measure had an unexpected effect on the Meridian fleet. Their bioorganic ships, already stressed from their journey, began a transformation. The quantum fragments they carried reacted with our electromagnetic pulse, initiating what the Meridians called the Great Renewal. Their ships started breaking down at the molecular level, but not in destruction, in evolution. As we watched in awe, the Meridian vessels merged with their quantum fragments, transforming into crystalline structures that pulsed with internal light. The ambassador's final message was both an ending and a beginning. Their civilization as they knew it was ending, but they were becoming part of something new. They were joining with their technology to become living guardians, anchored to our solar system, powered by the same simple electromagnetic energy that had saved them. The pursuers retreated, their ships limping away into deep space, but Earth's role in the galaxy had fundamentally changed. We had inherited not just the responsibility of guardians, but also gained protectors of our own, the transformed Meridian fleet, now a ring of crystalline sentinels orbiting between Mars and Jupiter, maintained by the same radio waves we've been using since the dawn of our technological age. As I record this final log entry, I can see one of these sentinels through our ship's viewport, its crystal surface reflecting sunlight in patterns that seem to pulse in sync with Earth's radio transmissions. We didn't just save an alien fleet that day. We found our place in a much larger universe. And perhaps most surprisingly, we discovered that our greatest strength wasn't in advancing beyond our primitive technology, but in understanding how to use it in ways no other civilization had imagined. 3 months have passed since the battle that changed humanity's understanding of our place in the universe. The crystalline sentinels, as we now call them, have become a familiar sight in our night sky, new constellations that remind us we're no longer alone. Earth's astronomers have learned to interpret their light patterns, a complex dance of information that serves as an early warning system for any spatial distortions in our solar system. The transformation of the Meridian Fleet didn't mean the end of their civilization. Rather, it marked an evolution we're still trying to comprehend. While their physical forms have merged with the quantum technology they once guarded, their consciousness remains. They communicate with us through precisely modulated energy patterns that our old radio telescopes can easily detect. Their wisdom and knowledge are gradually being shared with humanity, but always in ways that allow us to develop and understand at our own pace. The lunar fragment has become the center of a new international research facility. Scientists from every nation work together, studying both the ancient quantum technology and our own unique approach to space exploration. We've learned that our primitive solutions often provide stability and reliability that more advanced systems lack. It's a humbling reminder that progress isn't always about complexity. Sometimes it's about finding elegance in simplicity. The pursuers haven't returned, but we remain vigilant. The transformed Meridian Fleet believes they're regrouping, trying to understand how their reality-altering technology was defeated by radio waves and basic electromagnetic principles. Earth's defense systems have been upgraded, not with quantum weapons or spatial distortion fields, but with an expanded network of traditional communication systems now capable of stabilizing space-time throughout our entire solar system. Perhaps the most profound change has been in how we view ourselves. Humanity's tendency to stick with proven technology rather than leap into quantum advancement wasn't a sign of technological backwardness. It was an evolutionary advantage. Our focus on reliability over complexity, our habit of maintaining old systems alongside new ones, even our decades of seemingly redundant satellite communications research, all of it prepared us for a role we never knew we were meant to play. The International Space Program has been revolutionized. Our rescue ships, now modified with lessons learned from the encounter, regularly patrol the areas between the crystalline sentinels. We're not just exploring space anymore. We're helping to protect it. Young engineers and scientists train alongside veteran radio operators, combining new ideas with time-tested methods in ways that continue to surprise even our Meridian allies. As for me, I've been appointed as Earth's chief liaison to the Sentinels. Every week, I make the journey out to the nearest crystalline structure, where I sit in my ship's communication room, using a radio system that would look familiar to operators from 50 years ago. We share stories, exchange knowledge, and plan for a future that's both more complex and simpler than we ever imagined. The question I'm asked most often is whether we made the right choice in helping the Meridians, knowing it would draw us into an ancient conflict. Looking at the crystalline sentinels reflecting the sun's light, watching young cadets learning to read their energy patterns, and seeing how humanity has united in our new role as cosmic guardians, I can say with certainty that we did. We didn't just save a stranded alien fleet. We found our true purpose among the stars. The universe, it turns out, doesn't just need civilizations that can bend reality or travel between dimensions. It needs those who remember the basics, who understand that sometimes the old ways are the best ways, and who know that true advancement doesn't mean abandoning what works. That's humanity's gift to the cosmos, and perhaps it was our destiny all along.